Let me ask you something brutal. You wake up, you check your phone, and before you've even had your first coffee, you already feel behind. Someone your age just bought a house. Someone else is posting from Bali. Another person just casually announced they retired at 32. And you're sitting there thinking, what am I doing wrong? Maybe you're working hard. Maybe you're even saving. But no matter what you do, that feeling doesn't go away. That invisible gap between where you are and where you think you should be just keeps following you. Here's what nobody tells you. You're not behind. You're being measured against a lie. A lie that's been carefully designed by psychology, by social media, by an entire economy to keep you feeling exactly this way, permanently, on purpose. And in the next 14 minutes, I'm going to break down exactly how that lie works, who profits from it, why your own brain is working against you, and the 3 real numbers that actually tell you whether your finances are on track. Stay with me, because what I'm going to show you around the 7-minute mark is going to completely change how you see money, status, and what's actually worth chasing. Let's get into it. Let's start with the people making you feel broke. That friend with the brand new car. The influencer dripping in designer. The couple who just upgraded to a bigger apartment. The guy from school who seems to be traveling every single month. You see it. You feel it. And your brain does what brains do. It assumes they have money. Real money. More money than you. But here's the truth nobody talks about. Looking rich has never been cheaper in human history. Think about how easy it actually is. You can lease a car that's completely out of your budget, pay a manageable monthly amount, and drive something that screams success. You can put a designer bag on a credit card and pay it off over 18 months. You can book a luxury holiday and not pay for a single night of it until you're already back home. That lifestyle, the one that's making you feel behind, is available to almost anyone. Right now, today, even with zero savings and mounting debt. And the data tells a story that should stop you in your tracks. U.S. credit card debt just hit an all-time record, $1.28 trillion. Not billion, trillion. Buy now, pay later. The system that lets people split payments on things they flat out cannot afford has exploded into the mainstream. And the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that more than 1 in 3 people using buy now, pay later have already missed a payment. Let that sink in. These aren't people who are thriving. These are people who are performing. So the financial security you think other people have, it might not even exist. You're not watching success stories play out in real time. You are watching a performance, funded by debt, maintained by appearances, and designed to look effortless. Now, before I go further, I want to be clear. Not all debt is bad. Smart debt, used strategically, borrowing at a low interest rate, investing the difference, earning more than you're paying in interest, that can genuinely build wealth. We'll go deep on that in another video. But what's happening on your feed right now is completely different. People are borrowing lifestyles. And without realizing it, you are using those borrowed lifestyles to define what normal looks like, what success looks like, what you should have by now. And once that false normal is set in your head, you will always feel behind. Because you're comparing your reality to someone else's fiction. That's the first layer of the trap. And it gets significantly worse. Quick pause. If you've never heard this framed this way before, you're going to want to stick around for the full video. Hit subscribe right now so you never miss content like this. New videos every single week. Hit it and let's keep going. Here's where it gets really interesting and honestly a little uncomfortable. Because even if you switched off social media completely, deleted every app, and never looked at what anyone else was doing, you would still feel this way. Why? Because comparison is not a habit. It's a biological function. Psychologists have studied this for decades. And the finding is consistent. Humans don't compare in every direction. We almost exclusively look up. We're drawn to the people we perceive as doing better than us. We are barely interested in the people doing worse. This is called upward social comparison, and you cannot opt out of it. It is hardwired into how your brain processes your place in the world. For most of human history, this wasn't catastrophic. The pool of people you could compare yourself to was small. Your neighbors, your colleagues, maybe that one family in town that everyone whispered about. There was always someone doing a bit better, But that list was finite, manageable, human-sized. Today, that list is the entire planet. Before you've finished your morning coffee, you've already scrolled past a 25-year-old who sold their startup, a friend living in a penthouse in the city, and an influencer calmly explaining how they quit their job forever and travel full-time. The internet didn't just expand your comparison pool. It took the most extraordinary, most exceptional outcomes on Earth and made them feel like your average Tuesday. Someone retiring at 30 used to be unimaginable. Now it shows up between a meme and a food video. And your brain, your ancient, pattern-matching, status-aware brain, registers it as normal, as the benchmark, as where you should be. That's not your fault, but it is your problem to solve. And there's another layer underneath this, one that works on you even when you're not comparing yourself to anyone else. It's called hedonic adaptation. Some people call it the hedonic treadmill. And once you understand it, you'll never look at a financial goal the same way again. Here's how it works. Your baseline level of happiness is surprisingly stable. Something great happens, you spike upward. Something bad happens, you dip. But in almost every case, within weeks or months, you drift back to roughly where you started. Think about this in your own life. Remember the first pay rise that felt like it would change everything? Remember saving up for that car, or finally moving into the apartment you'd been dreaming about? You probably pictured yourself feeling secure, relaxed, like you'd finally arrived somewhere. And maybe you did, for a couple of weeks. Then something quiet happened. The pay rise just became your salary. The car just became the thing you drive to work. The apartment just became home. The thing you worked toward became the thing you take for granted. The achievement turned into an expectation. And that is the treadmill. You keep walking faster, earning more, buying more, upgrading more. But the floor moves with you. The salary you once dreamed about is now the one you complain about. The lifestyle you spent years building is now the baseline you feel stuck at. So let's add this up. You have borrowed lifestyles creating a false picture of normal. You have a brain that only compares upward against a global pool of the most extraordinary outcomes. And you have a psychological system that resets your satisfaction every time you reach a new level. Is it any wonder you feel behind, even when you're objectively doing well? This isn't weakness. This isn't poor discipline. This is a perfect storm of psychology and environment working against you every single day. But here's the thing. Once you can see it, you can step off the treadmill. If this is connecting with you, smash that like button right now. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who need to hear this. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. This is exactly the kind of content we put out every week. Now I want to go even deeper, because underneath the psychology, underneath the debt, there's a pattern that's been running for thousands of years. And once you see it, you'll realize that the feeling of never being enough isn't new. It's ancient, and it's been engineered. Rich people have always found ways to make sure you know they're rich, not just to enjoy their wealth, but to signal it, to display it, to separate themselves from everyone else. In ancient China, only royalty were permitted to wear yellow. The color itself became a symbol of power because most people were forbidden from having it. In ancient Rome, the equivalent was purple, incredibly expensive to produce, reserved for emperors and senators. Wearing purple told the world exactly who you were. Whatever the status symbol of the moment was, the formula was always identical. It had to be something most people couldn't have. Here's my favorite example to really drive this home. In the late 1800s, X-ray technology had just been invented. The machines were rare, expensive, and completely inaccessible to ordinary people. So what did wealthy Victorians do? They started getting X-rays taken of their own hands and hanging them on their walls. That was the status symbol of the moment. Not jewelry, not property, a photograph of their bones. Because most people couldn't have it, and having it proved you were wealthy enough to access the future. Then X-rays became medical standard. Hospitals got them. They became affordable. And overnight, those framed hand photographs became meaningless. The moment a status symbol becomes accessible, it stops being a status symbol. It becomes a standard, a baseline, something everyone expects. You can see this play out in real time with brands. Burberry is a perfect example. In the early 2000s in the UK, that iconic check pattern was one of the clearest signals that someone had money. People saved up for it. It meant something. Then the brand expanded aggressively. Counterfeit versions flooded the market. The pattern was everywhere, on everything, overexposed and diluted. Within a few years, That same pattern had nearly destroyed the brand's luxury status entirely. What once signaled prestige now just signaled mainstream. Burberry spent years and enormous resources pulling that pattern back, making it scarce again, rebuilding the exclusivity. Because exclusivity is the entire product, not the fabric, not the craftsmanship, the exclusivity. This is the pattern with every status symbol throughout all of history. The formula never changes. Something rare becomes desirable. Desirability drives demand. Demand makes it accessible. Accessibility kills its status. So the wealthy move on to the next thing, and the cycle restarts. So here's the brutal truth about the game you might be playing. The rules are stacked against you by design. The entire point of a status symbol is that not everyone can have it. The moment you get the car, the watch, the apartment, the moment it becomes something people around you are also getting, your goalpost moves. Not because you failed, but because that's how the game is built. You are not chasing a destination. You are chasing a moving target. And the people selling you the next target are counting on you never realizing that. So if the external scorecard is permanently rigged, what does the real scorecard look like? This is where we get practical. Because all of this psychology and history is only useful if it leads somewhere actionable. And there are 3 specific financial markers that actually tell you whether you're on track. Not your net worth compared to a celebrity. Not whether you own property by 30. Not what your lifestyle looks like from the outside. These 3 things. Number 1. You are saving at least 10% of your income every single month. Not most months. Not when it's comfortable. Every month. This is the non-negotiable foundation of financial health. If you are consistently moving 10% of what comes in into savings before you spend it on anything else, you are building something real. That is not behind. That is ahead of the majority. Number 2. You are putting money toward your future self. Every single month. Whether that's a workplace pension, a personal retirement account, an investment portfolio, something is growing for the version of you that's 20 or 30 years from now. Consistently. Not occasionally. Consistently. The power of compound growth means that the money you put away in your 20s and 30s is worth dramatically more than the same money invested in your 50s. Every month you delay is compounding working against you instead of for you. Number 3. You are on top of your debt. You know exactly what you owe. You have a clear, active plan to pay it down. Your debt is not growing faster than your ability to manage it. You are not avoiding the number. You know the number. That is it. 3 things. If you can honestly say yes to all 3, you are on track. Full stop. It does not matter what your feed looks like. It does not matter what anyone in your life appears to be doing. The 3 markers are green. You are building. And if the answer to any of them is not yet, or I'm honestly not sure, that's not a crisis. That is your starting point. That is the exact place to begin. The most powerful thing you can do right now is build awareness. Not an app that automatically categorizes your spending and sends you a summary you ignore. You, manually, looking at every transaction and understanding what it's doing to your overall financial picture. That active awareness, that moment of friction where you have to consciously account for every decision, is the skill that separates people who talk about building wealth from people who actually do it. Get a tracker. Use it manually. Do it every week. This single habit will tell you more about your actual financial position than any app, any influencer, or any benchmark ever will. So we've dismantled the lie. We've seen how the game is rigged. We have the real scorecard. Now let's talk about what actually matters. Because there's a question underneath all of this that most finance content never asks. If the status symbols are a moving target, what should you actually be building toward? Think about what genuinely wealthy people actually protect. Not what they display, what they protect. It's not the car. It's not the watch. It's not even the house. It's time. Control over how they spend their hours. The ability to say no to things that drain them. The freedom to choose their work rather than being trapped by it. It's privacy. Freedom from obligations, from constant performance, from maintaining an image. It's flexibility. The ability to move, to pivot, to take an opportunity when it appears without being locked in by financial pressure. It's health. Investing in their body and mind because without those, nothing else functions. It's creative freedom. Building a life that's actually theirs, not a replica of someone else's definition of success. These are the real luxury goods of the modern era. And here's what's fascinating. Almost none of them are for sale. You can't buy time on a payment plan. You can't lease freedom. You can't finance genuine peace of mind. They are built, slowly, through consistent financial decisions that prioritize your actual life over your projected image. And here's the shift in mindset that changes everything. Stop making money decisions to impress people. Start making money decisions to buy back your life. What does your version of a good life actually look like? Not your parents' version. Not what your school friends seem to be building. Not what's performing well on social media right now. Yours. Maybe it's the ability to work from anywhere. Maybe it's never having to check a price before you order at a restaurant. Maybe it's retiring early enough to actually enjoy your health. Maybe it's building something of your own. Get ruthlessly clear on that. Write it down. Make it specific. And then, every single financial decision you face, ask one question. Does this get me closer to that life? Or does it pull me further away? That is the entire game. And now you know how to play it. Let me leave you with this. Most people will watch this video, feel it deeply, and then open Instagram and start the cycle all over again. Because awareness alone doesn't change behavior, decisions do. So make one decision today. Just one. Define what your version of a good life looks like. Write it somewhere you'll actually see it. And let that definition, not someone else's highlight reel, be the thing that drives your next financial move. If this video shifted something for you, share it with one person who needs to hear it. You might save them years of chasing the wrong thing. The next video goes deep on exactly how to build the financial foundation we talked about today. The savings rate, the investing strategy, the debt framework, all of it. It's right here. Watch it now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit subscribe. New videos every single week. Real finance. No noise. No performance. Let's build.